what's happening in new construction right now in Metro Atlanta? You mentioned in our prior segment that, as you and I were talking before the segment, that builder confidence is not really where it needs to be. So anyway, just talk to us about new construction in Metro Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, overall, the builder confidence is a national level. Atlanta is still the number 3, technically number 4 market for new home construction, which is really good. But I mean, if you compared it to the historical, I mean, we're roughly 45%, 40% of closings we were doing at our peak just 20 years ago. So we're nowhere near that. We're still number 4. We were number 1 in the nation back in the day.
Do you remember the cities that we're behind? Who's ahead of them?
Houston, Dallas, and Phoenix. We're practically tied with Phoenix. And I mean, I think we're 4th now. When these numbers finalize at the end of the year, we should be 4th. But I mean, other markets aren't doing that great either overall.
Yeah.
The whole nation. So overall, what are builders thinking? I mean, it's still somewhat of a struggle out there. I think new home construction, though, in the grand scheme of things, has had a pretty decent year. We finally have stopped our capitulation in terms of new home construction. The permits are also hanging in there. Starts in December. An article just came out, I think 2 days ago. We're surprisingly higher than they expected as well. So there is a gradual shift that we've noticed the last 3 months, really since maybe the election, of maybe confidence is starting a little bit higher. But overall, confidence today is what it was. And if you took out the Great Recession, the lowest has been since the mid-90s. So I don't know if it's ever really going to change. Maybe it's a little bit of short-term memory bias because some builders were involved post-COVID. That first year, that was maybe the best time ever to be a home builder because you could build whatever you wanted and people were buying it. A common question we're getting is, what's the hot market where you want to go? What we're getting from a lot of builders right now is they are looking outside Metro Atlanta. Metro Atlanta that we know of, especially those core markets of like Gwinnett, Cobb, North Fulton, Forsyth, are so built out, or the government has pushed back because they've built out so quick, like a Forsyth County, for example, that there's no land and lots. If you want to build, it's just there's so much government regulation. You got to build $1 million house on a late acre lot. So builders are going up to Calhoun, Georgia, and Daresville, Jasper. Mostly in the north end. South end does not have that kind of same demand. So I think you're going to see a continued push there. But overall, I mean, I read something recently that makes a lot of sense about Charlotte to Atlanta is going to become this new kind of metropolis in urban sprawl, which was kind of happening. Greenville is the center point. There is such a sprawl going up 85 right now that is not going to slow down anytime soon. That is one of the hottest spots, if not the hottest spot in the entire nation right now for builders wanting to move to.
Do you think that North Georgia is getting the development because of the mountains and the feel of that area? I know you don't have mountains up 85, but do you think that's driving it north instead of south?
A lot of it's the older crowd as well. You don't see many people, their mid-30s moving up to the North Georgia mountains, but I think it's just to get away from the city, just get more land. Obviously, the mountains are a huge aspect of it. I think that obviously you go to Greenville, there really are no mountains whatsoever. But Greenville, just the whole area, it's a lot of affordability too. You're trying to find the most inexpensive land that is also desirable. If I can find a lot up in Gordon County, it's the same price as a lot in maybe south of Clayton County. Which one is probably going to be more desirable? It's probably going to be the lot up in Gordon County. Just the views. Builders are always trying to build smaller product. We're building more townhomes than we ever have before right now. It's just tough to do because the government still is pushing back on that. They're still building. If you look at the top communities in the market, they're not in those core markets. They are everywhere outside of that. South Fulton. Bartow's a hot area right now as well. Very affordable. People are builders are trying to get in there as well. So that's a big issue of, there's a lot of misconception of the housing market because we're kind of just so used to being in this core market where a lot of people aren't, necessarily building there and moving there for new home as well.